Welcome to this week's Primed Insight. We received a comment on our YouTube channel asking us if we would demonstrate how to wire up a 3-wire Deadman. So here you go.
Hi, I'm Todd with Blast One here in Columbus. I'm a part of Blast Fab, and today I'm going to take you through repairing a 55-foot Deadman cable and the plug handle also. So first, starting with the Deadman handle, you're going to want to make sure that you have the 3-prong twist locks that we all keep in stock here. And you're going to want to take off the backing. You can remove this backing all the way, just taking the screws out and then pulling these 2 pieces off. Make sure they stay together because they aren't a pre-assembled piece, so you'll lose some. You want to take the end of the 3-core and put it through the bottom of the opening where you just took the crimp off of. And then once you do that, you set the plug to the side, and with a sharp object, I like to use a razor knife, you're going to want to score about 2 inches down on the 3-core cable. So you just take it around the outside, making sure that you don't push hard enough to actually penetrate any of the conductors. Once you score it all the way around, you can grab it with your strippers and just pull. You do want to be very careful on these small conductors too, that you don't score them at all, because the insulation on these is very thin and the wire size is also very small. Once you strip off the 2 inches, you're going to isolate each conductor and then strip off about 3/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch of the insulation on each of these conductors as well. So I'll do the ground, the neutral, and then the hot. And you'll have the hot is the black wire, the neutral is the white wire, and the ground is the green wire. And then you'll pick up your plug and you'll land each of these conductors on the corresponding terminal. And you want to make sure that they're snug enough that you can't pull the conductor back out once you do set the terminal. The hot goes on the brass screw or the gold screw, depending on what you've learned. Again, snug enough just to not pull out of the terminal. And then the neutral goes onto the silver screw. Now, once you have all these attached, you can look and you'll see none of them are coming out. They're all snug. There's no wire showing outside of the terminal. All the insulation goes into that terminal, and when you tighten down the screw, you don't want to have any of the aluminum conductors sticking out of the bottom of that plug. So as you can see, I don't have any of that there. So I'm going to take this and line the base of the plug up with the indicator on the side, and it will actually sit just like that with all 3 of the set screws poking up. Now sometimes you'll have some of the wire actually sticking out of the back, and that's not the end of the world. What you can do, since you've tightened the terminals enough, you can actually twist with the grade of the wire and get that wire to sink into that plug a little more, so you actually won't have the conductor sticking out anymore. So once you have that, you're going to set the top of the plug. These are coarse threaded screws, so it only takes about a full turn to bury them all the way. So if you're using a drill, this isn't a situation where you want to bog them down. You want to be really gentle to make sure that if you ever need to replace it, you can get them back off. And then you're going to slide up the weatherproofing donut. Once we have that weatherproof stopper back in the base of the plug, you're going to take this crimp and slide it into, there's only one direction that it can go because there's actually a notch on the crimp. So you're going to slide the base of the crimp on first, making sure that that weatherproof puck stays in place, and then take the top of the crimp and set it in place. And then slowly start one side of the screws, making sure that the 3-wire is in the middle of the crimp still. And once you start the other one, you can bounce to the other side and start tightening that one. And then if the wire is still in place, you can go ahead and bury that one all the way and go over to the other side and finish the other side off. And that's how you replace a Deadman handle. If you ever needed to, in the field, repair a Deadman line, it would be the same wiring as the Deadman handle. After you inspect the entire lead and make sure that there's no scores, there's no splits anywhere, and there's no copper conductor showing, you would do the same thing with both ends. One end would be the female and one end would be the male plug though, and it is the only difference. So just as a troubleshooting tip, let's say you have full pressure throughout your system going from your compressor all the way to your blast pot, and you're initiating the Deadman and there's nothing happening. Obviously check the connection points and make sure all the twist locks are connected, but then run through your lead and make sure that there are no splits or cuts that are allowing energy to leak through the Deadman, because if there are, then you're not going to get that Deadman to actually initiate the pressure.
If you have a question or an idea that you would like to see us demonstrate or explain, post your comment below and we'll try to get to it. Thanks so much for watching this week's Primed Insight. We'll see you next week.